welcome to this episode of the Public Works Podcast. I'm here at City Hall, right here at the city of Ontario in the Inland Empire in California. So we are going to take a tour with the Executive Director of Public Works, Tito Haes, but I wanted to just stop in, check out City Hall while I was here, and say I hope you enjoy this episode. We're going to take a look at parking garages, we're going to take a look at fire stations, we're going to look at minor league baseball stadiums, some on-site tours, some discussion about that with Tito and our guest today, which is Transtech Engineers. Hope you enjoy this episode. Try to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for joining the show. Good afternoon. Welcome back to another episode of the Public Works Podcast. I'm Shane Silsby, your host for this episode, and we are live on location in Ontario, California, here at, as you can see, one of the fire stations, which we'll hear more about on this show. Some special guests with me here today. I'll have them introduce themselves real quick. Tito, welcome to the show.
I'm Tito Haes, the Executive Director of Public Works for the City of Ontario.
Great.
Melissa Demirci, CEO at Transtech.
So we're going to have a conversational episode today. Transtech, Melissa's company, helps support this effort and others in Ontario. So throughout the episode, you'll hear us talking about that. Okay. So first of all, I want to talk about career journeys a little bit and trying to help our listeners and those in public works understand how to get to points like this, either on the public side or on the private side. I always like to share those stories. So if you wouldn't mind, Tito, just take us through a little bit about how you came into the field of engineering or public works, and then how you worked your way through, made a decision on maybe public versus private, and then to your role today.
Actually, I started working for the city of Monrovia in October of 1990. I was going to school at UCLA, public administration major, and I just got a part-time job as a recreation leader in Monrovia, and I was working with the kids after school program type things. And then I really got into municipal government. I didn't know much about it before. I didn't even know what a city manager was or a public works director was at the time. So I asked to be intern in the city manager's office. I became an intern in the city manager's office, working economic development or redevelopment back then, and other projects with city manager's office. As my career progressed, I became an analyst in the public works department. And again, I didn't know much about public works. I'm a generalist. I'm not an engineer, but I really enjoyed what public works did. It's really a different job every day. You have all the different aspects of public works. And then I went to Sierra Madre as a deputy city manager, and the opportunity came back to come back to Monrovia as assistant to the city manager. I went there and I spent about 6-7 years doing that. And an opening came up in Azusa to be public works director / assistant city manager. That's the first time I really oversaw public works. And not being an engineer, I came from it from a generalist perspective. And it's really taught me how all the different aspects of public works, the field folks, the engineer folks, water folks, they all have different personalities, different attitudes, and different job descriptions and goals. So really not being an engineer helped me work with all of them equally. Sometimes if some guys come up as facilities and they come up and they become director there, because their heart's in facilities. Or as an engineer, your background is engineering, so you relate more to them. But as a generalist, I don't have any specialty in any of them. So I treat them all equally. And that's really helped me in my career be more of a all-encompassing public works director.
That's great. So you were getting a little taste of the public sector when you were in school, and then ended up down that public sector path between a few different agencies. You didn't have to make the choice. You got in there, you like that. And thanks for sharing, because the reason why I asked that question is everybody has a different journey. Right? For public works, there's not one way people get through that career, because there's so many different categories and ways to work on things. So thank you for sharing that. Now, Melissa, on the private side now, but happy to hear your journey and how you got interested in the field, and then how you came to your post today.
I do have my civil engineering degree from Cal Poly Pomona. While I was at school, I interned and worked for the city of Los Angeles in the mayor's office under the energy and environment, focused on public works. So my role during that 2-year stint was to get funding in public works and parks and rec for actually tree planting. It was called the $1 Million Tree Initiative at the time. This is back in 2006. From there, I finished my degree and immediately started working at Transtech I've held various roles, really focused more on public works related projects, whether that be budgeting, CIP, traffic engineering specifically. We had the pleasure of meeting Tito when he was in the city of Monterey Park, and our team worked together on delivering a lot of public works related projects. And we've continued that here in the city of Ontario. Right now, my role is as CEO, so I'm not really involved in the day-to-day engineering aspects of it, but really my heart is always going to be in public works. As a company, we're really active in APWA and different public works related organizations, and it's a big part of what we do at Transtech.
Yes, and you're doing a great job, and we appreciate having you here today and partnering with the City of Ontario. We wanted to hear a little bit more about how Ontario functions, okay? And so we talked about your career to get to this point, but can you explain how Ontario breaks down and what public works is or isn't, and then what you're seeing as current issues for Ontario today? What's the biggest things you're working on? Obviously, we're at a project now, so capital construction is one of those things, but could you give us the lay of the land for City of Ontario?
Sure. The City of Ontario is a full service city, so we have every department: fire, our own police, public works, finance, HR, community services or recreation. It's called community life and culture here. Planning, pretty much every department. We don't contract out much here in Ontario. For public works specifically, I oversee about 320 employees, and they fall under, there's integrated waste, so we have our own trash hauling, and that includes commercial, all different commodities. We have fleet and facilities, so they maintain all the city facilities and rolling stock. We have parks and streets, so they maintain all the parks, maintain the streets and sidewalks, so they maintain that. Design and construction, that's our construction arm, so they built this building.
For your design and construction group, is it the same team that does both horizontal and vertical, or is it different?
Yeah, design and construction does mainly vertical. Okay. Engineering was the newest addition to Public Works, and they do all the engineering, major CIPs on roadways, sidewalks, and whatnot.
Sewer?
No, actually, water and sewer falls under the Utilities Commission.
Okay, so that's a little bit unique.
Yes.
All right, so we heard about that. Melissa, you're great partners with Ontario when you look at Ontario in different ways to help them and all those interesting projects. Do you have some that you think about? We probably can help more in that one. I know you guys do work in all different categories, but do you have some that you like or focus on?
Yeah, before I get into that question, I just want to say the City of Ontario's growth is incredible. I live and grew up in this area, going to Cal Poly Pomona. A lot of my friends lived in Ontario, talking 15, 20 years ago, and just to see how much development has been poured into this community has been incredible. There are so many different levels of opportunity of people living here, wherever you lie in terms of your income. And I think it's such a great city to be a partner with, both as a resident, but also just as a partner with the city. We've been really proud that over the last 5+ years, we've worked together under Tito to deliver really exciting projects. I think the first big project that we worked on was the parking structure. That really was part of the whole economic development revitalization of the downtown that's still happening. I think in the next few years, you're going to see a lot of cool, new, boutique, high-end facilities come into play. And when you're driving down, you can still see that. So it's really exciting. From there, we got involved in the fire station, 2 fire stations that we've been building together. This one is definitely one of the more premier Fire Station 1 projects that we're so excited to be part of. There's also an admin building component to the fire station as well. And then from there, we really worked and served in an advisory, I would say plan check, building official, building inspector role for the Ontario Tower Buzzer Stadium. And then we're continuing to see where we can partner with the city, but also other professional consultants that work in the space and work together to just keep delivering amazing projects to the city.
That's great. And a lot of fun stuff. We're going to see that a little bit on our tour here today, but you talked about growth. And could you just speak, Tito, from the city's perspective, how you balance that? So your city's growing, there's some land available to build out. So you have to support that with your public works teams, number one, but number two, you also have to take care of existing infrastructure and residents and all that. Can you talk about how you balance that with the city?
Sure. Like I said earlier, we're a full service city. We take pride in having city employees maintain most of the parks and streets and whatnot. I'm not sure how familiar you are with Ontario, but in the south part of town, it used to be all dairies and it was annexed by the city maybe 30 years ago or so. And there's a lot of new development down there. So the city's probably going to double in size in the next 20 or 30 years.
So current population is what for Ontario?
It's about 200, 180, I think.
So you're talking about potentially hitting like a 400,000.
Yes. Yeah. So one thing about down south, it seems like a different city because it's all pretty new streets, new roads, new lights, new homes, new everything, new parks. We want to make sure the established part of town, it doesn't feel neglected. So we have to do a lot of renovations to our old parks so they're new. So they all get the same love and care. We want to make sure the more established older parks get facelifts all the time. And one that we're doing now is Deanza Park. It's one of the older parks. It was a little rundown, needed some TLC. So the council invested, I think, about $15 million to add new facilities to that park, new skate park, new splash pad, all new playground equipment, new artificial turf soccer field, lighting for everything. So that's one thing we have to keep in mind, that the south is going to be all new. We want to make sure the old part of town doesn't feel run down. So we'll start investing in the old part of town to make sure it stays new, fresh, and relevant. And Melissa was talking about the downtown area. The whole reason for this is this was a big parking lot. So land is at a premium. We needed a new fire station. Our existing fire station 1 was old, run down, and for about 20 years they were promising, we'll get you a new one, we'll get you a new one. But finding a location that met the needs of the fire station so they could react to all the calls in the area seemed a little difficult. The city manager, the finance director, and myself, we got together and we felt this is somewhere we could put the new fire station. We split up the fire station operations side from the admin part. Melissa was talking about an admin building. There's an existing fire station 3 where they're going to add another admin building. So the command staff goes there, the EOC will be there, and this is just a dedicated fire station opposed to a hybrid that we have now. But we had to replace the parking that we took out with this building. So I think it's about an 830 space parking structure that's built right next door. So that'll provide parking for the school, University of Laverne, because that's what this parking lot was for. It'll provide parking for the new annex building that we're building for City Hall. That's about 60,000 square feet and will house about, I think, 250 employees. They'll park here, and that brings a bigger daytime population to visit the restaurants and businesses that'll be in the downtown. More foot traffic. Melissa was talking about the parking structure that they helped build for us or with us, and that supports an apartment structure that's already open now in the downtown. So really the goal is to bring more people to the downtown area that will create the demand for retail and restaurants and stuff in our downtown.
Speaking of downtown, not every city has that unique, or there's some history to it. I saw when I was here today. Can you talk about what makes Ontario, just from your perspective, unique or different? You've been in a few different cities and worked in the area. So what do you think makes Ontario unique? Besides Tito working here, I know that's unique.
Yeah. When I started in Monrovia, that's an older community. I think 1887 it was established, and they had their downtown, but it was a genuine downtown. Ontario has its downtown. Euclid is the downtown. It's been around for a long time. It's just the heart and soul of the city. But as times progressed, people started moving out, and it got a little neglected. So we're trying to bring that back, revitalize it, and bring new retail down there, bring in new housing, and recreate the downtown, but still keep the heart and soul of the downtown, which is Euclid, the beautiful green stretch there, and rehab a lot of the old buildings that are there with new users. Other cities that are newer don't really have a downtown, so they look to cities like Ontario or Monrovia to see what they want to create that. We didn't have to create it. We're just sprucing it up and recreating it to make it more modern and updated. But we have that heart and soul that was there. It's original, it's not fake, it's not Disney, it's not Main Street and Disneyland, we didn't create it. So that's one of the things that an older community like Ontario has, that newer communities in the area, a lot of the cities in this area are relatively new. A lot of them are trying to create that. We don't have to create it, we have it.
So you have a community central point. People can be in a newer house or experience new commercial or retail, but they can then still come back to that city center and experience.
Yes.
Community and some density here downtown. Anything, Melissa, you want to add about Ontario? You work with a lot of cities all over the Southwest. Any other thoughts to add there?
Ontario is truly unique. I think because it is really a full service city, from their utilities, their water to their trash. I think something very special is the collaboration between the executive director and city management team. They're getting that vision from city council, and they are executing and delivering these projects at a pace I have never seen before. The stadium, from initial conception all the way through output, how many months? 18 months?
Yeah.
$151 million facility. They had opening day just 3 weeks ago, sold out. This past weekend, it was sold out again. I think what's so unique about this city is there's a lot of pride in being from Ontario. They have the airport, it's a hub. And I think that as we move forward in the next 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, Ontario is definitely making their mark, not just in Inland Empire, San Bernardino County, but overall Southern California. It's definitely the place to be.
Yeah, in the area, we know the airport, you have the minor league stadium, you have high-speed rail discussion.
Dodger minor league stadium.
Dodger minor league stadium. Okay,
Yes.
there you go. So that's all exciting. So we want to get out and see some of that. We appreciate your time today, and as we transition, anything you just want to mention real quick? We're here in Fire Station 1. You can see the fancy table here as we launch into our other tours. Anything you want to add real quick? You mentioned how this project got started, but anything about this facility when we're on the inside before we get to the outside?
Sure. One thing as a public works director and building facilities, I'm not an architect, but we do have clients. The fire department and the fire staff are a client, and we want to make sure the facility reflects their needs, their wants, what they want. They spend a lot of time in this facility. So as we designed it, we made sure the fire command staff was part of the design, and little features like this table is something that the firefighters were very proud of this. Little things that I don't know because I'm not a firefighter, but they bring a new perspective that even a lot of architects don't know. So we want to make sure that their voices are heard in the design. We keep them in the loop and take their input and try and incorporate that into the design for facilities like this.
Great. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for getting us kicked off, and we're going to head on some tours. Okay, Robert, what's behind this door? We're at a fire station.
Most fire stations have a typical slide pole, and it's used mainly for quick efficiency response time for the fire department. In most situations, you have one story, which is typically a 10-foot drop. In this case, because it's 2 stories, it's a 20-foot drop. So one of the things that they did for fall protection was we created sort of a step side. So you actually slide down 10 feet, then you're able to adjust, move over, and then slide down the other 10 feet. Then that way it's not one contiguous 20-foot pole drop all the way down. And it helps also for security reasons as well as efficiency and ease of access to the fire truck.
Great. Okay, team, let's dive into some projects. First up is the Fire Station 1, where we're at here, and it has an associated City Hall parking structure, which we'll talk about next. These are critical civil assets. Tito and team, can you walk us through the vision behind these projects and what they mean for the community?
We've had the existing Fire Station 1 for several decades, and it's been dilapidated. It's needed a lot of repairs, but they've been putting that off, just putting Band-Aids on things rather than doing full treatments and repiping and whatnot, because there was always plans to build a new fire station. And it just got difficult trying to find a suitable location that had a willing seller. This was an existing parking lot for the University of Laverne. The city manager, finance director, and a group of us got together and we said, why don't we build the fire station here? And this was the idea, Fire Station 1, the parking structure, and the city services building. And these are very complicated projects, and we don't have the staff to help support all these projects. So that's where a company like Transtech comes into being, where we need day-to-day people to be on site. And I have 4 project managers, but we have a lot of projects, and they can't be on site all the time. So Transtech works as the city representative, and they work day-to-day with the contractors, make sure our goals are met. So that's where Transtech really comes in and helps supplement existing public works staff.
That's great. Can you also talk about some of the biggest either challenges or interesting things during the design, development, and construction of this project?
This project in particular, it's difficult because you have three big projects on one piece of land. And anyone in construction knows you need a laydown area, an area for contractors to have their supplies, materials, and park their staff. We couldn't build all three at the same time, so we phased them. We started with the parking structure because we needed parking for all this because we were taking up the parking for University of Laverne. So that parking structure was first. We started working on this as well, like pretty much right after that. And the area where the new city services building is going to go was their laydown area. So once this was completed, the parking structure was completed, now we're starting on the city services building. So it makes the project a little longer and due to escalation, a little more expensive, but there was no other option. And that's another thing where Transtech comes in. They help us with the timing on all these projects. They give us a construction timeline, so we try and package all our bids to meet those windows. Yeah, that was one of the complexities for this project, and we want to make sure we don't impact the neighborhood too much. There's residents right there, and businesses as well are impacted, so we want to keep that at a minimum. Timing is critical. Ideally, you'd build them all at the same time. It's like a Band-Aid, just rip it all off, but the community wouldn't really support that, so we came up with the idea of phasing things.
Good, thanks. From a design element too, Melissa, you were talking about the airflow in here a little bit, and there's going to be vehicles in here and people and maybe dust and all that stuff. Just want to mention like the design of this and how do you think it works?
Yeah, I know that a lot of thought and effort put to make sure that the fire team that's going to be utilizing this facility, their health and their safety comes first. So a lot of thought went into the design of the garages. There's ventilation at the top.
Correct.
To fight a lot of the cancerogens that firefighters face day to day, protecting our communities. And maybe there's some other components that you can share as well.
When you think about the magnitude of a facility like this, almost 23,000 square feet, this is a facility that has 6 bays. And so the ingress and egress of all the equipment, the apparatus, the fire engines, the squads, the engine companies, the ladder truck, as they come through here. I don't know if you could see, but behind us, there's these yellow hoses. Well, those get attached to the smoke extensions of the vehicles so that the exhaust gets sucked out. That way, the individuals aren't smelling all the carcinogens that the big trucks pollute. Specifically, these are diesel trucks, so you have those big carcinogens that come out. But it allows also for a free environment so that they're not inhaling a lot of these. Yeah, it's a great facility. This is actually one of the best part of when I come to this place. There's a lot of historic here. As you look at the walls, you see a lot of the vintage trucks, and it's a commemoration of various vehicles that they've used throughout history.
It's kind of like the evolution of fire apparatus.
Yeah, that's so true. And also it goes back to tying into Ontario is so unique. There's a lot of community pride. And I think in all of the projects that Tito's team is delivering for the city, there's a lot of community and customization. This is not just a fire station. This is Ontario's fire station. And I think when you look around, even the space, you see Ontario branded within every nuance of the
Correct.
world. And it's so special. From the logos, from the pictures, I think it just makes more of a community feel for the individuals that are going to be using this facility. But also, like Tito said, there's residents right across the street. And I think that when you look at the facade of the building, it really fits with the community. It has a residential feel from the outside. So it's not just sticking out like a random fire station.
I think one thing to note also, to Melissa's point, when you go to the exterior, you're going to notice up on the kiosk, there is the name of the fire station, right? Fire Station 1. That was these channel letters that were in storage, and they got repurposed, they got powder coated, and so it's your adaptive reuse of an old sign incorporated into a modern sign.
That's great. Before we leave this area, we're in the bay, and I see 5 doors behind you, but can you just explain how this is intended to operate? Vehicles come in the back, line up.
Sure. So as we're standing here, this is north to south. The vehicles will be pointing north. And so as they get on a call, they'll circulate. These red doors here, the doors behind us, will open automatically. And they have these prompters that they hit. The doors open up immediately. It's seconds. They will egress and go about their call. When they come back, they will rotate around the building and then come in through these back doors. So they're always pointing in the direction of travel so that in the event of emergency, the response time is cut by nanoseconds.
There's no backing in. A lot of times you see fire trucks come in, the guy has to stop traffic and back in. Here they don't need that. It's all smooth transition, less chance for accidents.
That's great. So wrapping up this project, can you remind us, Mr. Robert, Transtech services that were provided? We know that Ontario was the owner, but what specific elements did Transtech provide for this project?
We served as the construction manager, inspector, and overall project manager, working hand in hand with Tito and his team to deliver this project.
Yeah, absolutely, Tito, and thank you for that partnership. We wouldn't have done it without you in terms of collaboration. We had two dedicated individuals on site. We had a senior construction manager, and associate engineer would be the equivalent of an assistant construction manager. And so those individuals, day to day, serving as the owner's representative, was really to ensure that, one, the project stayed on schedule, within budget, and that all the RFIs, submittals, change orders were all processed in a timely manner to ensure the successful completion of this project.
Okay, now we've made it over to the Ontario Sports Empire. And let's dig into this project a little bit more. Talk to us a little bit, Tito, about what's behind you. And parking structures don't always get the spotlight, but they are essential to supporting growth. What are we seeing here in the background?
So right now you see directly behind us is the parking structure. It's a 6-story parking structure, about 1,250 spaces, and it feeds the sports complex. The Sports Empire encompasses the whole area, including the baseball stadium. Sports Empire here includes the 8 soccer fields or pitches, depends on what age group is using them. They can be either 1, so 8, or they can be split up into 2s, so 16 max. And then we have the 2 football, rugby, lacrosse fields in the middle. On the south of them, you can see baseball fields. There's 8 of those. 6 of those can be converted to 2 fields, and then 2 of them, we call them the championship fields, and they're just standard. They can't be changed into 2 fields. And this is really designed to host tournament-style baseball, soccer, leagues. Right now, I've been told this is the largest complex of its type west of the Mississippi. A lot of people have kids that play travel ball, so they have to go to Phoenix or Las Vegas or other areas to go play. We've decided to build one here for the Southern California residents, so they don't have to travel all the way out there. But we'll have people from over there traveling here. So we're going to have a hotel behind the baseball stadium, and there's another one that's going to go on the golf course side. So there's going to be a lot more hotel rooms here to house these traveling families that come watch their kids play sports.
Great. So this structure, that's to support all of this development. And how does this type of development and that structure tie into the broader economic development vision?
Yeah. Now, right here in front of me, you'll see an at-grade parking lot, and there's still some flat land there. The plan is to have economic development come in there, include retail, possibly some office. A volleyball facility is going to go down there as well. There's also talks of another type of sports stadium to go down there as well. At-grade parking is not really the most valuable use of that land. So parking structures can support much more parking than at-grade parking does, and it frees up that space for mixed-use economic development opportunities and bringing sales tax and property tax to the city that helps fund future growth and future projects like this.
That's great. And back to this parking structure, Robert, can you tell us how this was delivered, like the delivery method utilized, and then any other interesting design or construction elements worth highlighting?
Absolutely. So this is design build. So what the city of Ontario has is they have a list of pre-qualified general contractors. Then what they do is they put the project out, they put together plans and specifications, which is what we were instrumental in helping them do. They put it out to the pre-qualified general contractors. They will then submit a seal bid. It gets opened up, read out loud to the public. And there's some factors that go into it with regards to the aesthetics of the parking structure, the maximization of the land use, as well as the maximization of the number of parking stalls that go into it. Because obviously the cost per square footage in terms of the number of parking stalls is also something that is taken into consideration. But as you look here, this is a 6-story, and as Tito indicated earlier, it's 1,250 stalls, and they're having the completion of the topping off next week. And so we're really excited about that, because as you look at this, is going to be the anchor, big focal point as you're traveling west to east along either Riverside or Chino. And you'll be able to see it as you're coming down Vineyard, you'll be able to see it. So it's a big sort of landmark that eventually anchors the Empire facility.
And one cool feature that's not there yet, there's going to be a huge digital display. Where we're looking at now, you'll see a huge TV that we can air World Cup soccer, World Series, any kind of event that we want to put on, Olympics, we could show that there and people can watch it. You got viewing parties. It's a cool feature that is unique for this area.
That's great. And just wrapping up the project, I think you all mentioned there were some big adjustments during construction to change the scale of the project. Can you all talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, the design build, you have the architect and the contractor working hand in hand, or they partner together. Originally, we had this design for about 600 to 700 spaces, and we thought, with all the future development we're going to have here, why not just build as much as we could? So we doubled in size the scope without having to go back out to bid. It's on the fly, something we thought we should do, and the design build component allowed us to do that. So we went from 700 spaces to about 1250, just like that, and didn't lose any time, because timing was very critical for this. This has to be completed by October of this year. Right now it's April. If we did it the traditional design bid build way, we would have had the architect already design everything, so we wouldn't really have been able to redesign it to double the scope. So design build gives us that option.
Yeah, you would have had a huge change.
Yes.
Robert, can you just explain how Transtech supported the project?
Absolutely. One of the things that Tito talked about earlier in terms of his staffing, we worked with his staff in identifying the request for proposal, helped them bid the project out, and then helped in the award of the project. As we broke ground on the project, we identified the need for resources. So we have a senior construction manager and an associate construction manager that helps day in and day out. And so we're here during the duration of the project to assist the city as the owner's representative. We deal directly with any change orders if there are, any of the submittals, the RFIs, anything that sticks out that is outside maybe the scope of the project. And we work directly with the city, Tito and his team, to ensure that it all gets incorporated into the final phase of the project.
And one thing, we're proud to be a full-service city, and Public Works a full-service agency. However, we've got probably about 8 projects underway right now, and I have 4 project managers on staff, full-time staff. We don't have the staff to put the time and effort that's required on projects of this scale to be here day to day. So we supplement our staffing with firms like Transtech to be our eyes and ears and be our representatives on site every day, whereas I couldn't afford to have 10, 12 project managers, and at some point we're not going to have all these big projects all at one time. So what would they do? So that's where we contract out with Transtech to help provide those services for us when we need them.
Thank you, Tito. We appreciate that. It's a great partnership we have together.
Yes.
Robert, we haven't heard about your career journey yet, so if you wouldn't mind telling us how you got into the industry and then your pathway and journey maybe to join Transtech.
Absolutely. I started my career as a city planner, never realizing that I'd actually transition into public work, city engineering work. And this is the trajectory over the last 35, 40 years, where I started as a city planner, then moved into assistant to city manager, evolved into public works. At the time, there was a public works director who gave me the opportunity to go work for him as his assistant. Bob retired, and then I became the public works director, not realizing that my true love was really in public works and in engineering. For the span of those years, I've been working as a public works director for several cities. In the course of working in that capacity, then I got recruited to go work for Southern California Edison, where I was director of government affairs for about 10 years, led that team, and then came back to Transtech. So this is actually my second tour of duty in sort of the field of public works. Couldn't stay away from it as I've circled back into the discipline of public works. Being one of the principals at Transtech Engineers, it afforded me the opportunity to continue to grow in public works, because no 2 days are the same. Tito can tell you that as a public works director, you come in one day thinking you're going to be doing one thing, but there's a multitude of, whether it's capital improvement projects, construction management, water projects, anything that's on the public right of way is pretty much fair game for public works. And so it's been really a long journey to get here, but it's a great opportunity to continue to grow and continue to be affiliated with a lot of the other, even the Public Works Association organizations and local city chapters. And it's a great partnership we have here with the City of Ontario, and we've been involved with not only this parking structure, but several other capital improvement projects, and hopefully continue to partner with the city as the years continue to grow.
Yeah, we're excited to be here on location at Ontario's minor league stadium, but I'm just a guest here. Tito, would you tell us where we're at? What is this? What's the story here with this cool project in Ontario?
This is a O&T field in beautiful southern Ontario. This was a dream that the council had a long time ago. Originally, this was a project that was just supposed to replace 6 holes of golf that we have north of the freeway just behind us. And this was just to replace the soccer field. But there were 200 and some acres available. The city manager said, let's just buy them all and we control them. We're going to do all the infrastructure. Why not reap the benefits of property taxes? The value of the land goes up as you build the infrastructure. So rather than build the infrastructure and have the property owners reap those benefits, let's pay for it all. And we could sell these off and have more control on what goes here. Originally, like I said, it was supposed to just replace the soccer park because we need to build a new public works yard. And that's where that's going to go, where the 6 holes of golf are. So that happened. And then because the council wanted a baseball team, we started thinking, what if we build a baseball stadium here? How do we get a team here? We started negotiations with the Quakes, who were in Rancho Cucamonga. They were looking to move or upgrade their stadium. We gave them an offer they couldn't refuse. We'll build you a brand new, beautiful facility. And they signed on the line. So we started talking about this. And originally it was about, I think a little over 3 years ago, the city manager said that. I personally gave it about a 50-50 shot, especially with the timeline that we have to meet. And it came true. So how are we going to build this thing in 2.5 years? We went out to bid for an architect. We hired the architect August of 23. We started design. We knew we had to build this quickly. So we hired a construction management company to do this. Their specialty is multi-prime and big projects. So we started that phase. But plan check is very critical on that. Sometimes projects can be held up. And our city is growing a lot. There's so many buildings under plan check. So we didn't want to impact those and get us ahead of the line and slow other projects down. We opted to bring Transtech on board to do the plan check, building inspection. So instead of being construction managers, they were the plan check folks that reviewed this, did the building inspections hand in hand with our teams. And that's where Transtech played a role on this. This is a 6,500 capacity stadium, state of the art. We went out and visited about 6-7 different minor league stadiums. We wanted to use Ontario Airport as a theme. So aviation is a big theme here. And anyone who's a Dodger fan will know that scoreboard is iconic. It's just like the scoreboard they have at Dodger Stadium. That's what we said. We had to have that scoreboard. And the architects said that's a great idea. They built around that. We wanted to make it fan friendly. We wanted to have prime seats, but also you can get $5 or $10 standing room only seats. And you can enjoy a baseball game for $5 or $10, depending on whether it's a weekend or a weekday game. And it's just proven to be a great job. We had to have it completed by March of 26. I was a little nervous at first, but with the team that we built and put together, we all worked hand in hand and made it happen. So now we have a beautiful stadium and the community loves it. There's so many Dodger fans here. Instead of having to go all the way to Dodger Stadium, Chavez Ravine, they could come to their backyard and enjoy a Dodger game. Single A is very different than Major League Baseball. So there's a lot more fan-friendly activities that happen here. One of the best things about being so close to Dodger Stadium is if Major League player is on a rehab assignment, they'll play here. So I think this last week we had, I forget the player's name, a pitcher, he started, sell out.
Sold out. It was a sold out game.
Maybe Mookie Betts will be out here. So those are real big games for the community.
So it's not Major League, but you're trying to give a Major League experience. And this is really a cool facility to do that, including advertising the signage, just like we see in the big stadiums. Melissa, is there any sign out there that you like more than others that you want to point out?
We were so excited. We were actually all together on opening day. It was wild. There were so many people. It was a packed show. We even had some A-list celebrities Dodger icons and singers and entertainers come. Of course, you might notice that around the stadium, there is our Transtech sign up there. I think really that goes back to, we're just so proud to be members of this community in Ontario. We're a little bit north of 300 employees, and we actually have a lot of staff and team members that live in Ontario. They grew up in Ontario. They're raising their families. They bought their first home in Ontario. Yep. And so being part of this community and being part of this project specifically was so special to us. We also signed the occupancy on behalf of the city as well. We served as the building official, the plan check, and the building inspector on behalf of the city to deliver this project. Some of those inspections were nighttime, 24-hour, escalated construction schedule. And I think what was so unique, it was a phased approach in terms of the plan checking. This stadium was built in 18 months because of all of the stakeholders' collaboration, from the CM, the multi-prime team, to the designer, to the city team, to Transtech working together. So plan checks were happening while construction was beginning. And as soon as those were done, they went to the next phase. So
even during design.
Even during design, yeah. It was a huge operation. Again, $151 million stadium built in 18 months. It is absolutely incredible what the city achieved, and we're just so honored to be partners with you guys. But I do have one really fun thing. So if you come to the stadium and you walk around, you're gonna see bits and parts of Ontario sprinkled throughout the stadium. And I'm gonna just leave with a cliffhanger. So when you come to the stadium, everything is aviation themed. So when you walk in, it's like arrival gate and all of that stuff. But there is a whole area there of old vintage luggages. And there's tagged of people's names. So I challenge you to go there and see if you see any familiar names of people that you know that might own some of those luggages. Little fun fact, there's a lot of little Easter eggs, I think, throughout the stadium. It's so fun. I've been to games, we have season tickets. And I think what's really cool too is there's so many levels of seating. So maybe Shane later will do a little tour. They have more like outdoor comfortable seating, stadium style kind of cushion seating, your more typical general admission seating, but then they have an open lawn area, first come, first serve, similar to how they do at like the MLS games. There's so much amenities for kids too. They have a splash pad. Yep. They have a little miniature wiffle ball, but it's an actual replica of the actual stadium. And then what's so cool is if a home run is hit, they have a light up runway, and then the propellers of that
P-38,
the plane go. It's just so fun. And of course you have the iconic Dodger screen. It's just so fun.
One of the things that really sticks out when you're talking about the Dodger theme, right?
Yeah.
El Toro, right? We have Fernando Valenzuela, number 34, out to here. And so there's a whole mural dedicated to him. And so for you who follow the Dodgers, right, this whole stadium is iconic, related to also Fernando Valenzuela.
Yeah, it's amazing. And because, like you said, it's so close to actual Los Angeles, you have Dodger players, they'll just come, they'll have an event during the game. It's one of Transtech's biggest honors. Ontario is I think, going to be the sports empire hub of the Inland Empire. I believe that.
I hope you're right.
Yep.
For sure. Any other agency has a lot of work to do to catch up. But Public Works was a big part of this, right?
Oh,
yes.
The team. So that's an awesome project for a Public Works agency to deliver. That's why we wanted to highlight that today. Highlight the efforts of Transtech, highlight you, Tito, for your leadership on this project. And we might do a little tour, but if not, I'll sign off here. Thanks for being on this episode of the Public Works Podcast.
Bye-bye. At the ballpark.
Bye.
All right, above us right here is Maverick. He's the team mascot. The team is the Tower Buzzers, and they've really taken hold of that Top Gun movie, where if you remember there was a scene where Maverick calls in, hey, request permission to buzz the tower. So that's why they're called the Tower Buzzers, and Maverick is their mascot, and Maverick is a bee.
Yep, Maverick is a bee. So I was told when I got a tour before it opened that they went to an elementary school. And the mascot showed up, and this little girl in second grade raised her hand. And she said, I have a question. Is that a girl? And he said, I actually don't know. And they asked why. And she said, I learned that if bees have a stinger, it means they're a female. Little fun fact, we actually don't really know the truth of that, but this is what we were told. So super cute.
Based on a 6-year-old
Yeah.
kid. Right? And there is a stinger.
Okay, we are wrapping up our tour
Yes.
here with the City of Ontario. Melissa, thanks for joining
Thank
today.
you.
It was an interesting trip. We started off with Fire Station 1. It has an attached new parking structure next to City Hall. Then we journeyed over and saw what's happening with the Vineyard parking structure in the Inland Empire Sports Empire. It's the multi-sports
Yes.
arena. And then we wrapped up here at the minor league stadium. What did you think about the tour? How did it go?
I loved it. This is really the heart of what we love to do, is see our projects be community driven. So you have Ontario, obviously the stadium, you have the fire station, you have the parking structures. So all of these are really serving the communities. I loved it. It was a really fun day.
It was great. Nice day out here too. We appreciate Tito Haes for taking us around as the executive director for Public Works. We learned about what an important role Public Works plays in all these different types of projects, from the planning all the way to the execution. Yeah. And we talked about how the city interacts from a public-private standpoint, not only to deliver the project that you see here, like this project, but also how they do it operationally with consultants like Transtech. And we heard throughout our tour the ways that Transtech was helping each of those projects. But for those that might not know Transtech as well, Melissa, what did we miss today?
Just a little bit about Transtech. We were founded in 1989. We're what you consider a full service turnkey municipal consulting firm. So we do construction management and inspection. We do CIP program management, budget. We work as an extension of City Hall staff, as in serving as the city engineer, traffic engineer, CIP project manager, working hand in hand with the Public Works director inside City Hall. Also, another big facet of what we do is community development. We do building official services, plan check services, both on and off-site plan checking, as well as building inspection services, Public Works inspection. So we are, in a sense, like a little mini city within ourselves, providing those services at different degrees based on the needs of our clients. In Ontario specifically, yes, we've done construction management, project management, inspection, but we also roll up our sleeves and we do plan checking at more of an administrative level. We just love being part of this community, and it's been a pleasure for 36 years to serve the greater Los Angeles, Southern California area, San Bernardino County, Los Angeles County, Orange County, Riverside County. Another kind of unique fact that many people may not know is we are in the gaming industry, and we service 3 tribal nations in terms of project advisement, some traffic engineering components, but also overall plan check, building inspection, and building official services, where we sign off on the occupancy of the casino and the hotel, and we also serve the reservation community. So overall, we're just so proud to be partners with the City of Ontario and this greater Southern California region, and we look forward to continuing delivering projects. And we want to thank Shane for having us today, and we hope we can do this again. And Tito, of course, and the City of Ontario. Big thank you.
Yeah, thanks again for joining us today. I've been your host, Shane Silsby, for this episode. This has been
amazing.
And this has also been my tour guide, Melissa Demirci, CEO of Transtech. So we appreciate her being here today on the show. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
All right. Here we are.
Joseph here, Public Works Podcast.
Shane here as well.
All right, so you just watched some cool content. All we need from you is to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It helps us get the message out. It helps us propagate the gospel of Public Works. So if you have free time, which you probably have 2 or 3 seconds, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so more people can follow us.
That's right. All we're trying to do is highlight the Public Works industry.
That's it.
Make those professionals trying to improve your communities look good and raise awareness and credibility of Public Works.
Yes.
It's easy to do.
Once again, thanks for watching. If you have any content ideas, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments, and Shane or I will answer them within a week of you putting it in there, and we'll get you the answer that you need.
Thank you very much.